Addison Rae, Bella Poarch, Dixie D'Amelio, all relatively recent examples of TikTok stars that decided to make music, and I'm guessing the reasoning on why they did that is along the lines of, I don't know, I have enough money, why not? This is an obnoxiously common trend for celebrities, or really anyone that can pay for it, and it's been going on for hundreds of years. The old saying, just because you can doesn't mean you should, fits perfectly here, but honestly, some of them aren't half bad. Today, I'm gonna go through and give my thoughts on some of these, but I promise there are dozens more, so feel free to leave a comment if I don't mention an example that you are waiting for. And just to be clear, I'm purposely not bringing up the people who are known as successful actors slash musicians or whatever they are, like Jared Leto, Dylan Minnette, Zooey Deschanel, Jamie Foxx, Jack Black, etc. Right now, I'm only interested in the examples that most people probably don't know about. Let's go. We're generally gonna go from bad to good during this video, and there's no better person to start with than Kim Kardashian and her song Jam, Turn It Up. This is like some Twilight Zone, Black Mirror, so strange it's almost performance art type stuff. When Kim was mainly just known as a model and reality TV star at the time, she teamed up on a song with R&B superstar The Dream, who has worked on tracks like Rihanna's Umbrella, Beyonce's Single Ladies, Justin Bieber's Baby, and more. Jam is this pretty terrible dance pop that features Kim's lifeless, monotonous talking slash singing, and the most generic instrumental you'll ever hear in your life. Regardless, half of the proceeds go to St. Jude's Children's Hospital, so if you choose to suffer through the track, at least you're doing it for a good cause. Jeremy Renner is a very successful actor critically and commercially, but good God, his music is the funniest thing in the world. I'm putting this so low on my list, not because it sounds terrible, the production is fine and his voice could be worse, but I don't know if I've seen someone trying this hard to be serious and deep while making music that is the definition of derivative. Check out his heartbreaking, emotional vocals that are making all of his fans cry in The One. And he's a great example of those memes people do of musicians that sing in cursive.
Welcome to my kitchen. We have bananas and avocado.
It'll conduct into my choir.
One of the crazy recurring themes of this video is that the comments on these goofy songs will have super fans of the celebrity trying to pretend like Jeremy Renner is the new Joni Mitchell. But his true masterpiece is his song Main Attraction. It's a perfect combination of Imagine Dragons and a Ford Truck Month commercial. This man could teach a class on how to be a musical stereotype.
You're the main attraction.
Alyssa Milano is an actress whose music career was probably more bizarre than anybody else on my list. When she was 12, she was in a movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger called Commando. Years later, the film premiered in Japan, and even though it is not a musical, a Japanese record producer liked her in it and offered her a 5-album deal. From ages 16 to 20, she made below-average bubblegum pop, all in English, but was only marketed to Asian audiences. Apparently, during this time over there, teen pop stars were being scouted purely based on appearance and personality, not their talent. Good thing that doesn't happen anymore, right? She was a platinum musician over there, touring all across Asia, but when she was questioned about dropping music in the United States, she said, "A lot of actors who release albums here are laughed at. I'm not interested in crossing over. I'd much rather have it released where it's appreciated than laughed at." Which, like, need I say more? Quick side note, supermodel Naomi Campbell released one bland R&B album in the 90s, which only sold 175 copies in the first 2 weeks, but apparently it was also a hit in Japan. The last one that I don't have anything good to say about is unfortunately Michael Shannon and his band Corporal. This incredibly talented actor is just a guy that bought a guitar and not enough people have told him no. His dull folk rock either sounds like he's falling asleep,
The world
Or he's making the world's least convincing campaign song for Barack Obama.
I'd sure like to know just how you got so frickin' tough.
The next group I'm gonna categorize as good try, I guess. There's some level of talent or likability here, but there are still plenty of issues that I would have if I was critiquing it. Well-known actor Kevin Bacon has a country folk rock band with his more musically inclined sibling Michael, and they are the Bacon Brothers. I see Kevin as a good foil to Michael Shannon. They're kinda doing the same thing. It's very casual, folky rock music that just feels like your dad trying out a new hobby, but the Bacon Brothers are actually decent. Like I said, the brother has a better voice and he can play these different instruments, so it's probably a little bit more of his thing, but good for Kevin. He's okay. So, supermodel and TV personality Tyra Banks has an R&B dance pop track called Shake Your Body, and while it isn't very good, it is so much better than I expected it to be. I say that because we've all seen the clips of some of the ridiculous things she would do on her talk show and America's Next Top Model, so I was expecting similar levels of chaos. While the track itself sounds like a J-Lo clone, it's way more interesting than something like Kim's song, and Tyra has a solid voice. Movie star Bruce Willis is known for fighting bad guys, but he was also a mediocre blues rock singer in the 80s too. All of the production is corny and dated, the lyrics aren't anything to write home about, and most of the time he's just kind of talking loudly as opposed to singing. But in the end, it kinda works. It's music that only Bruce Willis superfans throw on in the car, but if this guy was singing covers at your local bar, you'd probably enjoy yourself and nothing would sound out of the ordinary.
She blew a little kiss, so shy and sensuous.
Gwyneth Paltrow is an example where she's capable of hitting her notes, she probably wishes she could be a singer full-time, but she only pulls it out every now and then, so audiences have the reaction of, whoa, she can sing? What can't she do? She's been featured on more than a few soundtracks of movies and TV shows that she sung in, but you get more brownie points with the public when you do a silly game on Jimmy Fallon. Robert Downey Jr. has also showed off his voice while acting, but he made the mistake of recording a full-length album and really opening himself up to criticism. And really, it's just very passable, forgettable music, but if you're a famous actor and you're singing over soft rock piano ballads, you'll either get music nerds saying you're terrible, or more examples of fans acting like you're the second coming of Jesus. At the end of the day, he's just doing a half-decent impression of Sting, and it is what it is.
I'll never set foot in that rat hole again, but I'll try.
Now we're moving on to stuff that I'm pleasantly surprised by, but still probably won't listen to in my spare time. Basketball legend Shaquille O'Neal was also a rapper during his early days in the NBA, and honestly, I'm not mad at this at all. One of the aspects of these celebrities and their musical ventures that I haven't talked about yet is how much they actually seem to care about what they're doing. Shaq is my first example of someone who I think actually understands the culture behind the sound that he's attempting. It's unique in one way or another, and he's not just phoning it in. While his albums dropped in quality around the time that he was winning championships and probably didn't have as much time to devote to music, his first couple of records are solid. Sure, it's a little strange to hear boom bap rap where most of the discussion is about being dominant at basketball, but it's worth mentioning that Shaq is a very funny person, so he had plenty of great, quotable lines.
You're better than Shaq, tech, fool, shut up, liar. I lean on a statue of liberty when I get tired.
While we're on the topic of rappers, I want to give a quick shout out to the wonderful actor Tom Hardy, who was once a signed rapper named Tommy No One. His 1999 mixtape has been uploaded and deleted on the internet time and time again, but there's a video of him rapping called No Love, No Life that you have to check out. It's simultaneously average because of the quality of it, but then extremely jarring because Tom Hardy is aggressively rapping about being a libertarian or something.
Take you, replace you, then blaze through you like politicians always do, but the law states that we're all free.
Jada Pinkett Smith is another one that might surprise you. This actress and jack of all trades was in a nu metal band called Wicked Wisdom that released one album in the mid-2000s. While it's not very original when compared to the rest of that subgenre, and there's a lot of filler on the record, I think the single Bleed All Over Me is worth listening to, even if it's just to sit there in confusion that Jada Pinkett Smith is doing nu metal. One of the weirdest examples in this whole video is with Ricky Gervais. I hate to say it because I'm not a fan of his comedy, but he was in a new wave synth pop band in the 80s called Sayona Dancing, and I do like what I've heard of their music. When cheesy 80s sounds are done well, it can be a ton of fun, and Ricky was pretty good as a wannabe David Bowie. Their song More to Lose is anthemic, it's easy to sing along to, and to counter Alyssa and Naomi's fame in Japan, apparently this was one of the biggest songs of the 80s in the Philippines. Don't you ever say I've never given you any fun facts, because Ricky Gervais being an 80s pop star in the Philippines is remarkable. Internationally known actress Brie Larson released a bubblegum teen indie rock album before her career really took off, and I think it's charming, adequate stuff. The lead single She Said is reminiscent of Avril Lavigne, and from my perspective, she could have very well been a musical heartthrob during that time. She even opened up for Jesse McCartney on tour, but things just didn't fall in her favor. P.S. This is a reminder that her cover of Black Sheep from Scott Pilgrim vs. the World came onto streaming services recently, and it is absolutely iconic.
Hello again, friend of a friend.
Finally, to round out the list, we have music by celebrities that I actually choose to listen to from time to time. Eddie Murphy is one of the most famous comedians to ever live, and I don't think an 80s playlist is complete without his track Party All the Time. This is certainly the most famous song that I've mentioned, but I think that there were so many entertaining one-hit wonders during that era that people forget that Eddie Murphy, the stand-up comic and actor, has a synth-funk classic under his belt. I think it has one of the biggest earworm choruses ever. The dude is ridiculously charismatic, and he's a legend for a variety of reasons. Last but not least, Ryan Gosling is my favorite actor. The clips you're seeing on screen are from some of my favorite movies of all time, and somehow, this dude also made a super underrated album that I love. After learning that they both had childhoods filled with spooky encounters and an obsession with Disneyland's Haunted Mansion ride, Ryan and his buddy Zach formed the band Dead Man's Bones. The two had dabbled with music in the past, but they weren't pros by any means. Still, they chose to play all the instruments on the record, including ones that they had never touched before, and what they ended up with was fascinating. Their self-titled album, which featured the Silver Lake Conservatory Children's Choir, is full of this gothic indie folk pop that is totally one of a kind. There are strong elements of cabaret, the lyrics are both playful and eerie, everything feels so nostalgic and vintage, and I'm so glad they did this. Whenever I come around to making my own music, please give me the type of support that Jeremy Renner's fans gave him, whether I deserve it or not. Thanks for watching, and comment down below with which story intrigued you the most. Hey, thank you for watching that video. If you want to support the channel, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. You can follow me on social media at RenshawHS. You can buy my merch, support my Patreon, and thank you again. I'll see you soon.